On the next episode of Beyond the Band, catch me, Justin Sane, as we discuss my album, Inexcusable Wreck.
Oh my dear, you waited such a long time for me to get clear, for me to make it all right now. I know everything I'm supposed to see, so please come home, just come back to me. No, my dear, you waited such a long time for me to get clear, for me to make it all right now. I know everything I'm supposed to see, so please come home, just come back to me. No, my dear, you waited such a long time for me to get clear, for me to
Hello, you're watching Beyond the Band. Joining me today is Justin Sane. Now, he's a solo artist, singer and songwriter, and he's got a new album out called Inexcusable Wreck. So tell us a little bit about the album.
Inexcusable Wreck is just a collection of my feelings, my thoughts, and emotions over the last couple years, and I just kind of poured it all into my album, you know? So it's just, essentially, it's just who I am entirely.
Right. And you have a self-titled track, Inexcusable Wreck. Tell me a little bit about that.
Inexcusable Wreck, it's one of my favorite songs. My very best friend went on a mission, and he wrote this song, and he got back, and I was starting to get into music, and he was like, hey, I have a song. And I was like, all right, and he showed me it, and I was like, wow, this song is amazing. Here, let me help you restructure it. Let's do this. And then I was like, you gotta let me have this. And he did, so we turned it into the title track. I think it's the catchiest song, the most relatable, so it's a good fit for the album.
And I like that song because it kind of talks about a little bit of a relationship that occurred, and kind of pros and cons to such a relationship.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. It's like a us against the world, but we never accomplished anything kind of thing. I like that, yeah.
Which I think is typical a lot of times for younger couples. It's, you know, you think, yes, my first love, I'm going to go out there, this is so awesome, and then later on you're like, oh, what was I doing?
You're like, oh, I dated that person later. Yeah, definitely.
So your friend was cool with you taking, you know,
Yes.
creative permission?
I mean, it is very different, the way he wrote it. It sang very differently. The chords and everything are very different. I changed it a lot, and then I showed it to him, and I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, this is how I want the song to sound. It's your song now, you know? So he was like, I'll never play this, and I want it to be heard, so it's your song. So that, you know, I love playing it. You know, I make sure he's there, and I embarrass him every time. So
Good, you should. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
So another track off the album that I love, and I know you kind of talked to me before about it and how you hate performing it because it's the most requested, but Oh My Dear.
Yes, Oh My Dear. That's the very first song I ever wrote. You know, it was about my high school sweetheart, and she moved away after she graduated. She moved to Vegas. And so one day I was just thinking about her, and I put this song together. I've never changed anything on this song, on none of the lyrics, nothing. It's just always been the same. And I mean, if I could say everything that I wanted to say, it'd be that song to her. So yes, and she's heard it, and no, we're not together, so.
And with that song, didn't you say it took you, was it 5 years to actually get it recorded? And
Yes, honestly, I was very insecure about it. I never had a lesson with a guitar or vocals at all. Very inexperienced, and I was very intimidated. I grew up around a lot of talented musicians, and I didn't think that I was on the same level. So for a while, I kind of just hid back in the shadows, you know, and this last year, I just finally got the courage, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I did it, and it's just been a tremendous, like, experience, life-changing, very life-changing.
so when you say it took you a while to get there, to be ready to start writing and stuff, what finally triggered you to be like, okay, this is it, I'm gonna do it?
It's kind of funny. I can pinpoint the exact moment. There was a month where I was just pretty much isolating myself from the world. I had an AP alternative press magazine, and I flipped through it, and I looked at these bands, and I was like, I could do this. I could do this, and I should do this. And I just never stopped after that. I just kept going and going, and now it's just like, it's so easy that I'm like kicking myself for not starting sooner, you know? Yeah, I'm kind of bummed about that.
Well, I think that's very common people have these ideas and they want to do them, but they always feel like they're so impossible to achieve.
Yeah.
But I think once you set your mind to, I'm going to do it, I'm going to try, if you put your whole like energy into it, usually, for the most part, you might have some fails or, some trials on the way, but usually if you keep plugging along, you overcome that and you realize, that's totally what you want to do and you're able to do it, so.
Definitely, and I feel like my songs on the album definitely speak to that, because I definitely write about overcoming the fear to do it in some of the songs, so, yeah.
You are such a great songwriter. So one of the songs that I love, and I know it's kind of more of an emotional song for you, is Life Starts Now. And that one I particularly like because it takes you on a journey from the opening line.
The needle says hold, I feel the rush, I'm letting go. The only way I know.
Just from that first line, it's, it takes you on the journey. Okay, this must be someone who's addicted to drugs. Is that something that you struggled with or someone you know struggled with?
Well, it's like this. My dad was an addict growing up, so he was never around. And my whole life I swore that I'd never be like my dad or anything like that. And as I got older, I started to slip morally into some things, and I found myself addicted to certain people that were bad for me. And I definitely wrote this song to explain how it is to be in that situation, how hopeless it is. But at the same time, there is hope. You just have to keep fighting for it, So I related my dad's story and my story, and it's kind of one of the only times we've ever been together, So it felt really good to do that.
Right, and you, like you mentioned, you talk about hope a lot. And in the song, like I said, it's a journey, so you find out, there's someone who's got problems, struggling with drug addiction, and you go from that to, I'm overcoming it, and you even say, for the first time I'm free, I feel like I'm me. And I feel like with that, it's for the first time the drugs aren't in control of you. It's, who you are, you're in control of your life. But then you also mention, relapse, it's on your mind. And I think that's incredible for you to touch on that, because for people who are struggling or know someone who's struggling with that, it's their story too. It's, you overcome it, then, hey, look, there's drugs, there's this, there's, trying to pull you back in, but.
Yeah, I definitely relate this song on a personal level to depression. And my addiction was self-harm, and I really couldn't stop at all. I guess you could say triggered, or I get lost in a moment, and that's what I wanted to do. And I carry it with me on my left arm. It's really hard to look at, but at the same time, I found a lot of power in sharing my story. So this song definitely has a lot of power and meaning to everybody, So this is definitely the most requested song now. People like this song, so that means a lot to me, Definitely does.
I think it's great that you're so open about it, because it's sometimes difficult to be open about situations and circumstances. And
yeah, I found that being afraid to express yourself is kind of, it's unfair to the people around you. If you have information or an experience that could benefit people, you should be willing to share. And the more I've shared, I find more people reach out to me and say, hey, thank you. And this song has helped me stay away from the bad things in my life. And I'm like, wow, I'm really taken back and humbled. It's great. It's the most rewarding part of this whole thing for me. So.
And another thing I admire about that song is you talked about it's your father's perspective and your perspective coming together in order to create this song. And I think it's phenomenal that you have the creative mindset to be able to take two perspectives and throw them into a song. And
yeah, definitely. That was the most challenging, but it just felt so good to get it out, Definitely my favorite song to play as well, so.
Like I said, I like the journey that it takes everybody on, and I like that at the, throughout the song, you constantly say, hold on to hope, hold on to hope. And I think for a lot of people, that's, that's their only thing that they have in life is to hold on to the hope that they do have, even if it's just a small portion.
Small portion, yeah, that's all you need to make a change, just to believe, the belief in something.
Right. And another hard-hitting song, too, is Tonight.
Yes. I wrote that song because I was struggling with depression and suicide, and I was so alone, and I just felt like nobody in my family knew, They kind of were like, you're kind of on your own path right now, so we're going to give you space, and that was the worst thing for me. I was kind of drowning, and I had the self-harm. I was in a very bad situation in a relationship, and I was just remember feeling like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to wake up in the morning, and that feeling just haunted me for months. So when I finally started to come out of it, I was like, I really hope that nobody I know feels this way. So I'm gonna write a song that's there for them when they feel like nobody's there for them. So that's the premise of it. If you listen to this song, it says, you're not alone, we're by your side.
So close your eyes, it'll be alright. Tonight, I'm by your side.
You're definitely not alone. You may think you're alone, but you always have somebody. And if anything, if you don't have anybody, you have my song now. So,
right.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful because it's like I said, your other song you have, Hold On to Hope, and then you have this one where it's just kind of follows up the second to last track on the album, and it's, you're not alone.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's good for people to know that they're not the only one out there and that they have people they can relate to and with. And I think more power to you for being able, like I said, to go out there and express yourself and be open about your struggles, trials, and all of that, and hope that people will realize that there's honesty behind your songs, and that this was a real thing for you, and that they can take that and be like, well, Justin was able to overcome this through music. Maybe I can overcome, what I'm struggling with through music or just by listening to it.
That's definitely the reaction I want. It's really surprising to me, like, just how many responses I get from this song in particular, and I just, I'm humbled. I'm very humbled. It's strange how I started playing music to express myself, and it didn't really take shape or form until I kind of owned these two songs and what they mean. And now when I perform or I play songs, they have like this power behind them and this belief that I have in them. So I feel like people feel that, and that's amazing. I couldn't ask for anything better than that connection for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. You're not alone. I'm here with you, even when you leave. So
if you guys are struggling with anything, listen to some of his songs. Like I said, they're great when you're not at your brightest or your best. They make you feel up and chipper and make you feel like you're not alone. And another, the last track on your album that I kind of want to discuss is the song Free. Mm-hmm. And that one you had Ken's Hall featured on there, and she's from American Idol. Some of you might recognize her.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
It's kind of funny. That was the second song I ever wrote. And I was listening to a lot of Parachute at the time. And those guys, they get me, Mm-hmm. So I was just like trying to tell a story the best way I could. And in my wildest imagination, that's what love is, and how I'd always want it to be and what it would be like to lose that person. And it takes you for such a ride. I struggled playing that song first because I got emotional, because I relate it to my grandparents at the end. Because my grandparents' relationship is 50 plus years, and I see that love. So I definitely love that song. I wish I could perform it with all the production, but we're working on that. So
I like that you mentioned your grandparents and how they've been together for 50 years and how you put that in the song.
Yeah.
It's very admirable.
Yeah, I try to take everything that I write about is part of my life. Even the new material I have that I'm excited to release, definitely, it just all comes from me, and it just motivates me more to write more, to perform more, to play more shows, and be authentic. And I feel like people see that and they want to be around me, or they want to book me, or it's a great feeling. It really is. I've never felt this happy or good in my life. I feel like I'm helping or making a difference. It's everything I ever wanted. So.
Well, I would agree with you. Like I said, I've been listening to your album. My girlfriend's been listening to it. All of our Beyond the Band crew has pretty much had it on nonstop, and it's now become our addiction. So thanks for that.
That's good to know.
But I like that you're very honest when you write your songs, and I think that comes across very well with this album.
Yes.
Let's talk about the album artwork, Inexcuseable Wreck, because that's pretty awesome in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. So I had this idea. What is a perfect picture to describe an inexcusable wreck? And the only thing that came to mind was an ice cream octopus destroying a ship. And I was like, yup. So I asked Dave Devaney, who recorded me at Audio West, if he could help me out. And his brother actually drew that for me. I believe his brother works for Disney and Pixar, and gave me a great deal. And they told me that this would make a difference. And it really has, because people see my artwork and they're like, wow, you know, this is weird. And it draws you in. You're like, what is this? So I'm all about flamboyant, weird, you know, my hair's blue. So anything to stand out, really.
Well, I like it.
Thank you.
That was one thing that I noticed first when I was looking up your music, because you hit us up on the good old Facebook and said, hey, I want to do an interview.
Facebook.
And I was like, who is this guy? And even Sonia, one of our crew, was like, yeah, listen to this guy. And I was like, what? This is a Utah local singer-songwriter. And then, yeah, the album artwork came up, and I was like, is that an ice cream? No, it's an octopus. So, like, that was really cool. And then even on your CD, you have some pretty stellar artwork as well.
Yeah, I totally went with the pirate theme. I just kind of was like, hey, why not? Let's just go for it. And I just think it's fun. I think if you're creating, you should just have fun with it, you know? I definitely have some people that are like, you need to be more modern. And I'm just like, that's not who I am. I'm colorful. I like to stand out. I'm going to put out what I want to put out, not what you want me to put out, or what that defeats the whole purpose, you know? But I'm glad you like it. That's definitely the reaction I wanted.
Cool. So what are we going to do for your album artwork on this next album? Do we know yet?
I don't know.
We're going to do pirate theme or?
Something way different.
So I know you have a couple more music videos that you have out with this album. Mm-hmm. You want to tell me a little bit about the creative process behind those?
Well, I have a music video for Oh My Dear, and my longtime friend, Miguel, he's been with me through the long process that it's taken me to record. And he heard that song and he was like, hey man, I've rapped over the bridge. Do you want to hear it? And this was 3 years ago. And I was like, of course I want to hear it. And he's been very, very persistent about recording. And so we recorded it. And I was like, do you want to do this at your wedding? And he was like, yes. So we re-recorded Oh My Dear at his wedding, and he performed, and we performed live at the wedding. It was great. It was a wonderful experience. I had pink hair. Everybody was like, who is this guy? But it turned out wonderful. And then There's No Good and Goodbye. I have a music video for that. And my good buddy Jesse Ride shot that for me. And basically it was just trying to capture the emotion that I felt during that song. That's definitely about an ex-girlfriend that I don't like very much. And you could tell, but he just kind of sat me down and recorded me in a bunch of angles and said, just play it like you'd play it if they were here. And I said, okay. And I mean, you can tell that I'm not really paying attention to the camera in the music video, because I wasn't. I was kind of lost, but it felt good to do that. And it's really weird having music videos, you know? I don't know what to do half the time with most of this stuff. So it's been a fun learning process for me.
I was going to say, it's probably interesting to take your songs that you waited 5 years to finally record and release, and then you have that, and that's tangible, you know, you can listen to it, you can do whatever, but then take that, and then you have to add a visual aspect to your music, and then it's like, okay, well, he's got an idea for a music video, like, is that going to translate my song how I want my song to be translated? Was that ever?
There's definitely songs like Tonight and Life Starts Now that I would really like a lot of production into those music videos, because those songs are very powerful and they mean a lot, and I feel like a visual representation could really explain what I want. But it's like, how many people shoot music videos? Where do you go? Who do you call? You know, it's just a process. Right now I'm trying to write this new album, and that's my main focus. I am talking to somebody about shooting a video for Life Starts Now, and visually what I see is having a bunch of people who are recovering addicts with some signs, sober this long, you know, that's going to be part of it.
I'm excited for it, like I said. And I love that song, so I really hope the visual representation is.
I'll let you be the judge.
Okay, good. And then also with your new album that you're sometime going to release, I hope there's music videos as well.
I think this next album, I'll consider myself a full-time musician, and this is what I want to do. You know, that's the goal, to put out something so good that it's like, well, okay, hey, welcome. You know, that's what I want. So we'll keep working.
Now, you mentioned you're working on some new stuff. You want to give us some details?
Well, it's definitely not going to be acoustic. It's going to be full production. And I mean, I would love to talk about it, but it's definitely different. You're going to hear it and you're going to be like, this is from him. I've been experimenting a lot with abstract writing, trying to channel more of music that you can also be touched by, but also you can move to. So that's been an experience. And this whole last month and a half, that's what I've been doing. So I don't know when I'm going to go in and record, but when I do, I'm pretty sure it's gonna make another impact, and I'm gonna be excited for that more than anything. Honestly, that's what I'm most excited about, is putting out another album, and I can't wait.
I can't wait either. So how many songs do you have written so far for it?
I have 5.
5?
And I'm still so new to this, and I don't know much, so I'm just going slow, Definitely getting mentored by some people that I've looked up to for a couple years, and it's making a huge difference for me. I don't have any words. I'm just so humble and just so grateful that people are noticing me and appreciating me, and I appreciate them right back.
Thank you for being here, and thank you so much for opening up with us and
Thank you.
being such an honest singer and songwriter. I've really appreciated being able to talk with you and listen to your music and have you in studio with us.
Thank you. I love being here. You guys are incredible, and I just, like, as a local musician, you guys made me feel so welcome, and I'm sure everybody else just appreciates what you guys do. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And special thanks to Greg at Pale Horse Sound for having us here in his studio. Thanks for watching Beyond the Band. We'll catch you next time.
If anyone you know is struggling, please call the Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-8255.
The needle says, "Oh, I feel the rush. I'm letting